Good afternoon to one and all. We are pleased to welcome you all for the two-day National Biotechnology e-conclave Hygiene, the challenge of the change with the theme Emerging Biotechnology in the Current Pandemic. The main objective of the program is to emphasize the role of biotechnology in the current pandemic, and we are also aiming to discuss the career opportunities in the life science stream. Yesterday was the first day of the National Biotechnology e-conclave, in which we conducted a webinar on COVID detection technologies, challenges in the pandemic world, and a research poster presentation covering major areas of life science. Today, being the second day of the conclave, we have included a bioinformatics workshop in the morning session, and now the most awaited section, a webinar on career guidance in life science. Confusion, uncertainty, havoc are the major problems that the students are now facing. The only solution for overcoming these problems is by collaborating with eminent people from which we can learn. Through this session, Hygiene aims to ignite and mold the young minds to become a successful scientist, entrepreneur, researcher, etc. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all here today. It's our honor to have you all as a part of this event. Next, I welcome Ms. Zaid Gaudi for introducing our guest speaker. Gaudi, please.
A very good afternoon to one and all who has joined us for the event today. It is my privilege to introduce Dr. Smita Jain as the guest speaker of today's webinar session. Dr. Smita Jain is the Executive Director of India Bioscience, an organization that attempts to serve as a bridge connecting researchers, educators, science communicators, and policymakers and promotes a positive change in the life science ecosystem in India. Dr. Smita Jain has a PhD from the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, in the field of cancer biology. Then she explored the field of industry for a couple of years and later moved into the field of scientific management. With her keen interest in management and ability to communicate, she played a key role in establishing the business and processes at CCAM Bangalore. She's a person who is very passionate about careers in science, mentoring, and developing courses for professional development. She's deeply motivated to take the activities of India Bioscience to all possible corners of the country and make a strong interweaved network of Indian life science researchers and professionals. Dr. Smita Jain is a recipient of IRMI, Research Management Grant of India Alliance. She is also a nominated member of the review group for the programs and activities of NSTC, DST, Government of India, and an invited member of the committee set up by DST, Government of Rajasthan, for the welfare of women in science. I extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Smita Jain, who joined us today, and I invite her to take over the session on career guidance. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, perfect. No, when I started, there was some echo, so I had an issue. Okay, perfect. And my slide is visible, right, to all of you?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Thank you. Thank you. So I guess before I start, I would want to thank Kerala Agricultural University for inviting me for this session. When the invite came, I was not sure what I can talk in especially in the field of agriculture, because I'm not from that background. But I was told that it's more about careers. It's more about, what are the various different possibilities. And I thought that would be interesting. And I can, so here I would like to talk about 3 C's, confidence, courage, and careers, because all 3 are very well connected, integrated. Okay, so before I start, I guess I'm going to tell you a story of the cow who climbed a tree. You all would wonder how a cow can climb a tree, right? But the very moral of the story will convince you how, or what can actually result in a cow climbing a tree. It's very interesting, and this is a story that was shared by my daughter, while she was watching YouTube. So this was this cow who's very, very inquisitive, always trying to explore newer pastures, and she would go here and there, and her family would be very upset that what she keeps doing. But this cow was like that. So one day she decided to explore how climbing a tree is like, because she would see her friends climb up, other friends, and then she attempts and she succeeds. She comes back, narrates the story to her family members who were very upset. Like, how can you do that? You're just going nuts. And this cow was like, why are they saying? Because she's trying to narrate that she could see a beautiful bird outside there, woody area when she climbed up. It was all so beautiful, but none of her family members could buy that idea. And then one fine morning, this cow decides to again venture out and explore further. Now, she didn't tell her family that she's moving out. And there she was, flying in the air and this and that, and, enjoying her life. Now, the family is looking for her and they figure out where she is. She finally could convince that, okay, you guys also do the same thing. And that's when they realize that, well, definitely the word out there is extremely beautiful. And then there was no looking back. And they all, basically the sky became their limit. So the moral of the story, and that's how I would want to start this talk, is nothing is really impossible if you really, really want to do something. Okay, so with that, I guess what I'm going to do in today's talk, I'll take about 30 minutes, wherein I would just talk about some career basics, integrated with my own journey so far, key tools which are needed to craft a career. And this is where my major emphasis is going to be. Then I'll also talk about diverse opportunities and how you all can connect with India Bioscience in order to, make the best out of the resources that we have to offer. Okay, at the very beginning, I guess you all are right now in your maybe undergrad or postgrad, but very soon you all would be getting into the next step or next phase of your career or job. And this is very, very important to understand that career is not something, not just your first job. That a job is basically something which helps you earn money in order to support your basic needs. Very simple. Mostly the motivation, the happiness factor is missing, because if you have not selected your job well, it remains a job forever. But a career is something different. It's much longer. It's like that, long marathon. And that's a long-term professional journey through learning, through work, through passion. Very, very important that there is a continuous learning factor when you are navigating this journey. You work with passion. And that's what would give you a very successful career, and this would also give you motivation to continue doing really well, and you will be happy at the end of it. Not just end of it, in fact, throughout the journey, you will remain happy. So it's very important to select what you are selecting as your career with care. And that is why I guess I call career as you need a lot of courage, confidence. You need to remain alert throughout this journey. You need to be resourceful. And by resourceful, I mean you need to have good understanding, not just of the technical skills, but also of the ecosystem where you're working. You must be ever ready to take on any challenge, anything that comes your way. Be ever ready. Embrace the challenges, because multiple different kinds of challenges will come. Even if you have selected a path very carefully, they will come, and remain focused. And if you keep these things in mind, any career journey is going to be fruitful. It's going to be, at the end of it, you will get happiness. Again, another very important thing to keep in mind is that your career is your responsibility, not anyone else's. Nor your parents, nor your teachers, nor your friends, nor your peers. It's your career responsibility. So you have to decide and take steps after putting in some really good thought into it. Okay. And this is a quote I really find very motivating by Barbara McClintock, which says that I was just so interested in what I was doing, I could hardly wait to get up in the morning and get at it. One of my friends, a geneticist, said I was a child because only children can't wait to get up in the morning to get at what they want to do. I hope you all would agree to it. As a child, you don't care. If you want to go out and play in the playground, go on the swings, you would do it, right? There's no stopping. And that is how one has to pick up a career so that no one can stop you, and you gain happiness out of that. And that's the key of selecting the right career path. Okay, so moving on. We all feel and kind of grow up with this notion that this is one linear path, especially for those who are in sciences, that you do, if you have not got into, that's another issue, but if you have not got into any professional career, you do your bachelor's, you do your master's, you do, if you want to continue in higher studies, you do your PhD, postdoc, and then become a faculty, either teaching or doing research. Now, this is what most of us have grown up with, but in today's world, it's no longer true. And that's where I guess I'm going to come to that a little later. But in today's world, in the 21st century, career progressions are no longer linear. Career progressions are no longer that hierarchical, wherein you move up the ladder one after another. They can be very different. They can be very crisscross. People move from organizations to organizations. They play very independent roles. They work as consultants, or they chart their own paths. As you can see from this picture, each one of them is climbing his or her own ladder. They are not following anyone. And that's what is very important to keep in mind in today's world, that it's no longer that one single linear path. Okay, so here I would like to switch gears and talk a bit about my own journey. I basically grew up in a place called Banaras in Uttar Pradesh, and I was very interested in biology. I was kind of passionate, hardworking, and with those elements ingrained in me, I grew up. I went to school in Banaras, and interestingly, this is a place where, at least at that point in time, English was never given any importance. So throughout my schooling, I could never learn how to speak in English. I could write fairly well, but I could never speak. And but I had some really good teachers in school, as well as my father being a scientist. He was teaching me science at home, and that is where my ability to logically think started to get nurtured. I moved on, and this is where a very interesting story happened. Being the topper in the school, the teachers were very confident that I would write a medical exam. And I was of the opinion that I can't stand a hospital, so obviously I can't become a good doctor. There was an argument. My father was called into the school, and he also supported. Luckily, he supported my idea that I should be allowed to do what I want to do. And that's where I did my first omission. I'm like, this is not where I'm heading to. I didn't know what I'm going to do. So I joined the undergrad course at Banaras Hindu University, really worked hard, studied hard. Teachers were very motivating. So continued to stay motivated. Went on to do my master's in biotechnology at Baroda, and the course there was extremely rigorous. That taught me, teamwork. That taught me multitasking. That taught me how to take decisions, because the students were given chance to take decisions. And then another interesting thing had happened during my undergrad, when I had come to IIC for a summer program for 2 months. And that's when I had decided that if I ever do my PhD, I'll do it from IIC. So in 1999, I was at IIC for my PhD. Next 5-6 years spent doing PhD in the field of cancer biology. And that was the period that taught me a lot of courage, that taught me resilience, because every second experiment would fail at times, and there's nothing much you can do about it. But that's what taught lot of resilience, that taught critically, think, that taught how to manage time and things like that. Again, at the end of PhD, that was 2005-6, when I had to do another omission, which was whether to go for a postdoc or not. Now, I was clear that I don't want to stay in academia. I didn't know what I want to do, but one thing was clear, that I don't want to stay in academia, and I decided not to go for a postdoc. Again, the decision was not well taken by my peers and my supervisor, but I was very clear, and I decided that I'm not going for a postdoc. What did I do? I was definitely at that crossroad, that, should I go this way, that way, which way? That's when I decided to join industry in Bangalore. Again, as I said just in my previous slide, I was not sure what I want to do, but I decided to join industry. I worked there for about 3 years, learned a lot of organizational skills, learned a lot of professionalism. And sometime around 2010 is when I decided to join CCAMP in their business development and project management role. So this was a new organization which was looking for PhDs who can take care of such a role. And that's where I found my niche. I realized that this is a kind of role that really gives me that feeling of satisfaction. I learned a lot of decision making again, learned to manage various different things, and I started to grow my network. And in 2016, I joined India Bioscience in a leadership role, again continuing with science administration and management related, different kinds of things. So this was in nutshell my professional journey, which kind of gives a glimpse of how I navigated, how I made those omissions at various key steps without worrying about what is going to come my way a little later down the line. And in the whole process, learning some key skills, which I have highlighted here. So it's very, very important. And that's where I would like to show this golden circle, which is all about self-contemplation, that you must know or understand or try to understand. Not necessary that you would know, but try to understand that the purpose of why you want to do something. Let's say I was very clear post my schooling that I would not get into medicine. I knew why. So it's very, very important that you know the purpose, and from the purpose, this how and what actually falls in place. So again, at every stage in your life, at every stage in this career progression journey, always keep this golden circle in mind, so that you know what you have to do, how would you do, so that you reach that purpose, that why. Okay. So with that point here, I would want to switch gears and talk a bit about career planning, which is again very, very important, regardless of what career, what path, what field you would want to choose post your degree. I guess what I'm going to talk in my next few slides about career planning is going to come handy at each level. Okay, so the very first thing in this is that you need to know yourself very well. As I said, you as an individual is very, very critical. So you must know yourself. And how do you know yourself? I'm sorry, the slide has got a bit distorted when I uploaded it on Google Drive. But so you need to know your skills. What are your core competencies? What you are good at? What your interests are? And interests are nothing but something that gives you that motivation to stay really focused and work with interest. So this is your interest. And values. Values is nothing but the purpose for which you do anything that you do. So these three things, skills, interest, and values, are very, very key when you are taking on any role, any path. So know yourself. The second point, explore your options. And how do you explore your options? Again, there are multiple ways. online research is something that we all know. Just go up on internet and look for various different opportunities that you feel that you might be interested in. Uh, but other than doing online research, which would give you a lot of factual information, other very, very nice way or effective way to gain information is by doing informational interviews. Again, I would not get into the details of each one of these because of the paucity of time, but I can say there's a lot written on internet about informational interviews. I would just like to summarize here that this is nothing but an interview with a person who has already established himself or herself in a given field that you are interested in. So you ask for a time, you talk to this person to understand the bigger ecosystem, how the field works, what are the key skill sets, courses that you can take up, and things like that. You basically are not looking for an opening here. You are just trying to understand that particular path. The third and another effective way to explore your option is by seeking internships or volunteering activities. Because let's say you decide to work with a firm which is taking care of intellectual properties, and you get an opportunity to do an internship with them. You spend a month, and then you realize that doing a desk job is not something, or creating those documents is not something that is of interest. And then you can take a very informed decision post that internship. Or second option, you do this internship and you figure out that this is something you really enjoyed because you are getting to read or learn about various different kinds of discoveries which are being made, and that's something you're finding very fascinating. So that is how internships come very, very handy. So online research, informational interviews, internships, and volunteering are basically three ways in which you can explore your option. Okay. The third, once you have known yourself, once you have explored your options, you take decisions that where you would want to head. But that might be the right decision at that point in time. Like for me, post my PhD, I decided to join an industry. I moved to industries, but then little later, I felt that that was not the right decision. But that was 3 years later. When I took the decision, for me, that was the right decision. So at any point in time, you align yourself after you've explored options and take that decision, enjoy, learn, whatever comes your way. Don't regret that decision, is all I'm trying to say here. Okay, last but not the least, after you've done all that, you kind of, you're reaching that point where you have to actually take the plunge and get on to the actual job. And that's where it's very, very important that before you take that move, few other very critical things that are important here. When you are, making yourself career ready is you need to build your network. And this is again something that is not told to us very categorically or in words, that building a network is key to success. So invest heavily with people, build connections with people you know you feel connected, or you think they do some great work, or you feel that you would want to get into that field. And how do you build those connections? Either through conferences, through meetings, or guest lectures in your college, or if you're a little later, if you're moving out, uh, meeting new people, or LinkedIn, a platform like LinkedIn. But invest in building your network. Work on your CV and resume. I guess I cannot emphasize enough on the importance of a good CV, importance of really well written, well documented CV, because that's the key. For a given job, recruiters would get hundreds of CV. So only when they see a very distinctive CV, you will get noticed. So work on your CV and resume. Any interview that you give, take it very, very seriously. Fourth point, learn the art of giving an elevator pitch. Here I would spend 2 minutes. I guess very it's like, the first impression is the lasting impression, and how do you make that first impression is when you can talk about yourself very crisply, but very concisely, but a comprehensive summary of yourself in those 30 seconds to a minute. And why is it called elevator pitch? Because this is how you introduce yourself to a stranger, let's say in an elevator, where you got only 30 seconds to, speak to this person, and you have to introduce about yourself. And that's why it's called elevator pitch. But this is something that comes handy. Let's say in an interview, you walk in, and the very first question usually that gets asked is, introduce yourself. And now, where do you start? Is the question. And that is where, if you have practiced that elevator pitch for yourself, which you know that what you would want to talk, who you are, where you come from, your educational background, your interests, passions, what you want to do, in a very, very concise, comprehensive manner. And that requires practicing. So again, a very, very key skill that each one of us must possess if we want to succeed in our career journeys. Last but not the least, have mentors, because they are the ones who know you really well. They are the ones who help you at each step of your career. Mentor can be anyone. It can be your seniors, it can be your teachers, it can be your relatives, parents, anyone. But having a mentor who can support you at different stages of your life is very, very key. Okay, so I guess it's not a summary slide, but in today's generation, these are some key skills that each one of us must have when you are, getting onto a professional career path. People management skill, organizational skill, communication, both written and oral communication skills, negotiation skills, your ability to continue learning throughout your life, ability to give attention to details, ability to manage time and multitask. These are few key skills that employers look for in anyone in today's world. Okay, so here, I guess I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just emphasize that with any degree, wherever you are, what is really, really important to understand that each of the degree that each one of us pursue actually teaches us a lot more than our actual uh, technical skills, our knowledge about the subject. They teach, as I was listing down many of the skills in my previous slides, most of the courses teach us those skills, and we are equipped. It's just that we are not aware. So be aware, become aware, and with those qualities that you earn during your formative years, here I'm reading, you can branch out in a variety of fields, so long as you're willing to apply your knowledge and skills in the right way. So never think that, if you have done a graduation degree in biotechnology, all you know is biotechnology. As I said, during our masters, we were taught so many things. It was a very rigorous course. But then, understanding of the skills, let's say time management, negotiation, ability to take decisions, presentations. Let me also share here. The first presentation we were asked to give during our masters, in a class of 16, 9 of us actually froze. We couldn't complete our presentation because none of us were really good. And then we started practicing and practicing. And towards the end, we all learned how to give presentation. So that was a skill we all learned alongside our course. And this is something each one of us, each one of you must keep in mind, that what are the skills that you are learning during your formative years. Okay, now with those skills, once you become aware of the various different skills, as in my very previous first slide I was showing, right, that most of us feel that it's one linear path, that you become a researcher or you become a teacher post your PhD postdoc. But those are not the only career paths. They are definitely very interesting, very important career paths. But but there are various other career paths equally important, equally interesting, equally engaging. One can, if one has a flair for writing, one can draw, they can become science communicators, they can become science artists, they can become journalists. Uh, these days, there are roles opening up to manage funds. Uh, One can become grants manager. One can become business development manager in industry or even in academia, or places which provide services. Like I was a business development manager at CCamp. If one has an idea that you want to take up further, you can become a bio entrepreneur. You can be a product specialist. I guess this list is really long. I would not get into the details of this list, but urge you all to download this book called Disha from India Bioscience website. If you just type Disha India Bioscience on Google, you will get this book. This book talks in detail about each one of these career paths. It talks in detail about the skills that are needed for each of these career paths, the courses one can pursue, the organizations that offer, jobs in various different, in these diverse career paths. So do make the best use of this book, because if I kind of get into this, it's going to be an endless talk, and I don't want to take so much of your time here. I've just put down here, let's say someone, post your degree, you have an idea that you think has potential to get onto a market, that has potential to become either a product or a service that others can use. And that's all about, entrepreneurship. Now, what are the key skill sets? So this is how this book would list. This is again from the book Disha. So this is a book that was launched by India Bioscience last year. It's exactly a year back. So it will talk about key skills. It will talk about, key responsibilities if you get onto that career path and things like that. So it's extremely important that, you do your thorough research, like you do when you are going to buy a mobile phone or a headset or any other product. There's so much research that we do. Similar way, before taking a decision about your career, do good amount of R&D, know yourself, explore your options, only then take decisions. And before, as and when you're taking that decision, simultaneously also prepare yourself for that career journey, with those 5 things that I narrated a little while. Okay, so I guess here I would say that have that courage, have that confidence to take an unknown path as well, even if the path that you decide is not known to you. Have courage, have confidence, and you will succeed. So go ahead, and you all have that key in your hand, because each one of us have a degree in hand. So with that key, unlock the lock towards the path to success and happiness. And I would like to sum up here, be clear of what you do not want, even if you do not know what you want. And this is, I gave each one of you a couple of examples from my own journey. And that is why I'm very clear that, what you do not want is more important than knowing what you want. Once you've negated, you will eventually find your path or goal if you're focused. Degree in science is a powerful tool that opens multiple avenues, so craft your career carefully, since this is your responsibility. Crossroads will come. Regardless of any thoughtful decision in life, there are going to be multiple crossroads that each one of you would face at various stages. Think, align, and move forward. Don't give up. Never give up. Be open to opportunities that come your way. Don't be very choosy at certain junctures in your life, that this is not what I want to do. Sales and marketing job is not something I want to do. Don't be choosy, because each opportunity will teach you lot about careers, lot about life. So be confident, courageous to take risks. Never be afraid. Okay, here I guess I'll just take another 5 minutes maybe to talk a bit about India Bioscience, which has actually a lot to offer to the students community. So this is a program funded by Department of Biotechnology, and this is being running for last 10, more than 10 years, about 12 years now. Uh, we, as was there in the previous slide, we work around networking, we work around communication, skill development, education, data and policy, and we work for young investigators, we work for students, we work for educators, and science professionals. And this is our website. It's a very massive website with loads of resources and articles going up on a very regular basis. So my request to each one of you is go visit the website, and you all would find resources which are of interest for you. You can find books, you can find our Crafting Your Career podcast series. So the things that I spoke during in the section for career development is something that you would find in details in these podcasts, because there are about 18, 19 episodes, and each one of them talk about key skills, and there are many different informational interviews with people who have moved into various different kinds of career paths. So that will give you an understanding of these career paths. If you're interested to write for us, you can do that. If you want to participate in our workshops, 26th of this month, Friday, we are having the last Crafting Your Career online series workshop. So if you want to join there, please go ahead and register. You will find the link on our website. And the best is these are all, there's you don't have to pay any money for any of these. These are all for free, very useful resources, which is all there on the website. These are some useful resources regarding crafting your career. So if you want to make use of it, please go ahead and download the books. You will find all this on our resource section. This is another book on funding opportunities. If you wish to pursue PhD or postdoc in India, what are the various fellowships or grants that are available? So this book will give you details of that as well. Again, it's available for free for download. Okay, so I guess before I sum up, I just wanted to add couple of more things before I'll take questions. Is for holistic development, very, very important that you discover your strengths and weaknesses, because that's what will help you grow further. Learn to cross hurdles and learn to deal with failures. As I said earlier as well, failures will happen, hurdles will come. What is important is to learn to deal with those and be open about it. Learn to manage your time. Learn to multitask. Very critical that one stays focused and alert that what's happening around you. Exercise and eat healthy food, because that's another key factors to success. Be a lifelong learner. In this century, the person who's not a lifelong learner cannot sustain the fast-moving, fast-changing world. And last but not the least, again, pursue your hobbies. Very critical to keep yourself sane, keep yourself creative. So if you have any kind of hobby, always pursue. Okay, so I guess I would like to end that this is the palette of life. Life would offer, multiple colors. What's in your hand is, painting this canvas of life and career is in your hand. So don't worry about what you paint. What you should think is enjoy playing with these colors and creating the canvas the way you wish to. So I would like to end with a quote from my role model, Abdul Kalam: climbing to the top demands strength, whether it is to the top of Mount Everest or to the top of your career. So have that strength. And for that, you need courage and confidence. Thank you very much. And I can be reached at the email ID smitajain.iic@gmail.com. And I'm also there on LinkedIn and Twitter. This is my Twitter handle. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an enlightening section.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, there are few queries.
Sure.
The first question is by Dilnadi. She's asking that what are the points to be followed while attending an interview?
Good question. I guess again a lot is there if you listen to our podcast, or we have also had an online webinar on interviews. So you can find that on our website. But very quickly, I can say that one, present your best self. Be open, be honest. Never do guesswork, never be dishonest at the interview. And if you have any doubts about the question being asked, have that courage to ask the interviewing committee again. Uh, be professional, be on time. These are some very basic things, when you are facing an interview. Brush up all the basics before you go. And also, don't overdo it, but showcase your strengths. Showcase your strength, skills, and substantiate each one of those points with example from your life. So let's say you say you're good in communication, good in writing. Tell them, or if you want to carry with you a file with your writings, you can even show them, or tell them that these are things you've written. Don't just say that I'm very good in writing. Whatever you say that you have done must be substantiated with clear cut examples. So I guess these are few quick points that I can share for now, but my suggestion would be to listen to the podcast on interviews and listen to the webinar on that we did a couple of months ago, and you'll find it on our website under the resource section. Hello.
Ma'am, the next question is by Gayatri SP. She's asking that please tell us how to build a powerful resume.
Okay. So powerful resume is again, it's a topic on its own. I guess what you need is, and my suggestion is, rather than me telling it here, few quick points I can say that, uh, powerful is basically put out the purpose, put out the action that was taken to take care of that purpose, and create those bullet points which say that this is what you had done. There is no clear cut guideline, I would say, to create any powerful resume. It's just that it should be an honest resume. It should not be copy pasted. It should very clearly summarize your trajectory at that point in time. If you are applying for your first job, it should very clearly talk about your key educational qualifications, your achievements, your skills. And when you talk about achievements, give specific examples. Again, India Bioscience has done a podcast on building powerful resumes, and we have done a webinar. So do watch both of these on the website if you want. I can share the links of these with the person who was communicating with me, and that can be circulated if that's fine, because these are very, very useful very useful resources which are there on our website. So make the most of those.
Ma'am, next question is by Fatima Sara. She's asking that what are the writing skills to be focused on while preparing CVs for academic purposes and for industrial job applications?
Good question. I guess what you need to focus is basically, and that's how the CV has to be changed, that depending on the job requirement, you need to look at the job advertisement, dissect it very carefully. You need to pick up the keywords of the job ad, that what they are looking for, what are the key deliverables that are going to be. Now, for those deliverables, you need to extrapolate that what are the skills needed. And if you have those skills, again, put those powerful statements there in your resume, very clearly showcasing that you have those skills, and give examples. Now, for academic job versus industrial job application, again, it all depends on what position and what is the requirement of the position. I don't see a reason why these two would differ. These two can be same as long as they are succinct, as long as they are clear, concise, comprehensive. But what is really important is to showcase that you have those key skill sets that are required by that job ad, regardless of an academic CV, or regardless of an academic job opportunity or an industrial job opportunity. The only key difference I could think of, especially for academic jobs, you need to put out all your publications, especially for faculty positions or higher up. You need to list down all your publications, all your writings, all your achievements or talks that you have given. But for industrial positions, I guess that kind of detailing is not needed. You can just, in your resume, you can just put in key publications, key talks that you have given, that has created or that is helpful in some way for the job that you are applying for. So that's the difference.
Ma'am, next
Yeah.
question is by Chitra Devi. She's asking that explain how to get to know abroad job requirements.
That's a tough question. I guess I have myself never explored a a requirement from abroad, but again by internet search, there are a lot of job portals. There are a lot of consultants whom one can talk to, who can, if that's what you're interested in, who can tell you about opportunities. But this is quite a broad question, is what I can say. It depends, like, which country you're looking for, and then you go to those specific consultants or websites of that particular country and look for opportunity. Or if you know of people in that particular country, you know of your seniors in that particular country, and that's where network comes very handy, that you connect with your network and gather information. Or if you know of specific people working in those countries, you can send out connection requests, talk to them, do informational interviews, gather more information, and then apply if they tell you that, okay, this is a job that's available. So those are various different ways I can think of to find out job requirements. Yeah.
Ma'am, next question is by Gunjan Sachdeva. Is
Yeah.
asking that what are the various job options after MSc Biotechnology?
Okay. So again, Gunjan, I guess it all depends what you want to do. Options are plenty. Options are, varied. All depends. I listed out few various different career paths, but at the end of it, you as an individual have to decide what you want to do, what you're keen at. There are large number of biotech industries, right, that hire freshers. Uh, if you are interested, it's just that you have to keep your eyes and mind open. As I said, remain alert, what's happening around, what are the opportunities coming your way, whether that aligns with your own interest, your skills, and something that you want to do, and then based on that, take a call. But if you want to understand the various job options after MSc Biotechnology, again, read that book, Disha. That'll give details about various industries, various different kinds of jobs. There are a lot of agri industries, there are a lot of food industry, farmers there. Uh, they all hire freshers. Now, it again boils down to your own interest. I hope I answered that question.
Ma'am, next question is by Surya. She's asking that will it be good career path to choose MBA after BSc Biotechnology?
It is. It is. Only again, if you want to get into management side of it. See, as I said, and personally, I do not believe that switching gears is something wrong. Or let me give a personal example. Post my PhD, when I was working in industry or when I was working at C Camp, I was told multiple times that, you're wasting your degree. And this was, I never took it personally. I'm like, well, this is my life. I'm doing what I want to do. So at the end of it, if you wish to get into a management path, uh, it is a good option, because there are a lot of now, even pharma company, let's say, if you have a basic science understanding with a management degree, you can fit into various different kinds of pharma industry. You can even fit into these startups, the incubators, where there are multiple startups are there, because they also look for people who have management degree, who can take care of very different roles. So again, my suggestion, or a point that I would want to add to this question is, don't restrict yourself just based on the boundaries that traditionally have been set around these terms. Like, if you have done BSc biotechnology, you can only do this and this. If you have done MBA, you can do only this and this. No, don't do that. Understand various different skills that you are learning out of that course or that program or that degree, and learn to apply those skill sets into various different kinds of job opportunities or career paths. That is what today's industry looks for. A person who can not just use his or her knowledge, but can also translate the key skills into the job role. So I guess I would be perfectly fine as long as you know that post your MBA, which way you want to head. But it's always a good choice.
Ma'am, next question is by Vashini. She's asking that can we apply for net examination after pursuing an MBA, as government teachers mostly ask for PhD?
Well, honestly, I would not have an answer for this question, because this is something one has to look for on that portal, whether you can apply for net examination after pursuing an MBA. I would not remember nor know. I gave my net exam almost 23 years back. And post that, I've never ventured into that zone. So I guess you need to see the eligibility criteria for net exam, whether an
Ma'am,
MBA. Yeah, yeah.
Ma'am, Abhishek is asking to share the workshop link of 26 February.
Okay, okay. Just give me a minute. I can do it right away. Just give me a minute. You all will have to register. This is a very interesting panel discussion on directions, transitions, and challenges when you are navigating your career path. So this is the link. Go on to this. I've just pasted it here. Go on to this and register for the webinar. You will find a registration link there at the top. Just go and register. It's a free webinar again.
Ma'am, Surya is asking one more question
Yeah.
that she want to make her own company on biotechnology. So what to choose after BSc biotechnology?
Okay. Good question. So I guess if you want to start your own industry, if you have your idea very clear, my suggestion to you would be, you know, continue working on your idea, continue gathering information, try to talk to few people who are from that field, or even if they are not from that field, but people who have started their own companies, to understand that particular ecosystem, that what it takes to become an entrepreneur, what all various different challenges or successes that come their way. So that will give you an understanding of the path. uh, what to choose, but the question is what to choose. Now, if you want to gain further technical knowledge, no harm in doing a further course. But I also know of people who have moved out and started their companies post their graduation as well. So it all depends on your own confidence, courage level, and the idea that you have. Uh, Now these days, government is funding a lot of different kinds of ideas. There are funds available. If you have looked for able, there is a best entrepreneurship competition that happens, BEST. Look for that, find out details. So, you can participate in such programs, because if your idea gets selected and you are awarded, that really gives further confidence that, well, you can do something like that. But for me to give you an advice that what you should do post your BSc biotechnology will not be very feasible, because I don't know what is your idea, where is that, and what what you would want to do with that idea. But I can suggest is that do talk to people who are entrepreneurs who have started their own company, and then you can discuss not complete idea but part of that idea, so that you are not disclosing your idea to anyone and everyone. Keep the core protected, but talk to people to understand. And if you feel that your idea is something that doesn't require you to gain further degrees, why not? If you have finances, if you have that zeal, even post your degree in graduation degree, you can start it. It's just that personally I feel that it's always good to have few higher degrees, because that gives you more confidence and a little more understanding, little more experience of the whole field. So one can take a decision based on that.
Thank you, ma'am, for clarifying all the queries. Now
Right.
I invite Ms. Jancy CS for the vote of thanks.
Thank you.
Good afternoon to all. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks for Dr. Smita Jain on this occasion. Today's webinar gave us a deep insights about each stages of career progression by quoting her own life experiences. The words were very inspirational and motivational. I'm sure that the session would be very helpful for crafting our career and helping us to build a better future. On this occasion, I would like to speak a few words about our experience with Dr. Smita Jain. She was very friendly to communicate and kept contact with us right from the beginning. Once again, I would like to thank Dr. Smita Jain for taking out time from her busy schedule and enlightening us with information about crafting career. And also, I thank all the students, faculties, and other participants for being a part of Hygiene 2K21. Once again, thank you to all.